Hello everybody and welcome. This is Patrick from Vicious Computers and welcome to a brand new video about the Steam Deck. Today's video is kind of a follow-up in regards to the last video I posted, which was that full-blown tutorial and guide on setting up a dual boot setup and sharing the storage between your Windows and Steam OS. Now the number one comment I got on that from the various outlets is, how is this different or better than some of the methods already published out there? And I thought the title might give it away, and if you watch the whole video, I'm sure it gave it away. And that's that we're not separating space for Windows and Steam OS, where we only have so much space given to each, which means if you don't use that space as you had planned, you're either going to have wasted space on one partition or not enough space on the partition that you're using. The fact is we're sharing our storage space, so we have the maximum amount of space for each operating system, and therefore we can grow as we go and not have to plan it ahead. In addition to that though, it means that Windows has access to the files for SteamOS and SteamOS has access to your Windows files, meaning manipulation of files can be cross-platform. How does that come into play? Well, today we're going to do an experiment. We're going to be trying to install a mod for Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX is one of the few games from Final Fantasy's series that I never beat, and I've been a huge Squaresoft buff since I was a kid. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, these are things I grew up with as a kid. There's apparently a mod out there called Moguri Mod that updates the game for widescreen support, some extra quality of life features, better graphics, etc. I installed it through SteamOS originally before I did the dual boot, and it was a big hassle because first you have to download the mod, then you have to add the mod itself as a non-Steam game, then you have to assign it a Proton compatibility layer, then you have to go, and when you're supposed to browse to the files where they're installed, SteamOS does not let you see those files. They're hidden, so you can't even browse to the files. So you have to find the path and then either manually type in or try to paste the path. It was a lot of a process there, something probably most people wouldn't want to go through. I have a hypothesis that we can install that mod from Windows and affect our game on the SteamOS, and that's what we're going to try today as far as our experiment. So why is this method better than the previously posted methods? Sharing our storage space, and let me show you what that is because I think showing is telling. We're in the Steam OS, the game mode right now, just to start with. And let's go look at our storage. So if we go to downloads, I think that shows us. No, it doesn't. Let's go back. Let's go into settings. And then down here, storage. Our internal hard drive, we gave our home partition almost 850 gigabytes of space, and the micro SD card I've now inserted since that last tutorial, another almost 930 gigabytes of space. These are available for the Steam operating system to install any games that we want. So I would say let's jump over to Windows side, but real quick, let's go ahead and launch Final Fantasy IX while we're here. So we can see the game is working and it's in its default state. So if we launch Final Fantasy IX, we're going to get the default launcher. And this is what the default launcher for Final Fantasy IX looks like. We'll go ahead and close it. And we'll hit stop and we'll come back recording when we get to our Windows. All right, welcome back. We're now inside of Windows. Just a nice quick reboot and choosing the Windows option when we boot. That's the nice thing about how we set it up. So let's go first, let's take a look at our storage. Let's show you what we're talking about with sharing our storage. That home partition that we gave the majority of the space to is right here, and Windows has access to it. And here's our micro SD card. Also, Windows has access to it. Now, how do you effectively use this space? I mentioned it in the last video. What I would do is create a new folder at the root, and that's where you're going to place all of your Windows stuff. So I've done that already for the internal drive. Let's go ahead and do that for the SD card real quick. Oh, wrong keyboard, tapping on the hosting computer. So there we go. Create yourself a folder. Call it whatever you'd like. Windows installs just makes that easy. Now when you go inside of Steam, Battle.net, or whatever, and you go into your settings, you just change your download directory to be that folder. So you can see I gave myself a download folder and that home drive pointing to that folder, and that I changed it to my default. I could also now add, I might as well add the SD card space while we're at it. So the SD card, let's choose another location. It's not on the C drive. That was, honestly, I don't remember which drive letter that was. Here it is, F drive, Windows installs. I'd like to go into that folder. Guess it won't let me, so we'll select that folder. So now we have selected this as the additional space, and it will start using the SD card if we need it to. When we download our game, we get to choose which one of these we want to install it to. I have one game installed right now. Let's go ahead and browse to it on the file structure. So if we go to the home directory, go to our Windows installs, you can see I've got Steam and Battle.net installed in here. And the one game I've installed currently is Metal Slug 3. So I just real quick want to go to Steam, and we'll actually launch that game just to show that it's working on that shared space. And there you go, Metal Slug 3 working on our shared space. Now, as far as comments about this, there's a few people that are very technically inclined out there. One person mentioned that BTRFS doesn't have case folding. Case folding meaning that the case sensitivity, like Linux, uppercase and lowercase matter, on Windows it doesn't. This could potentially cause a problem if a game or a mod is looking for a specific case and it's not there in the right way. So far, myself and the few other people I know that are using similar techniques to this haven't run into a problem, but it is potentially a problem. So I'll just bring that up since it was brought to my awareness. If you find a game or a mod that doesn't work on the shared space, then you still have some space reserved just for Windows. So you can always install it on your NTFS partition if you wanted to. But so far, like I said, no issues, and the benefits are far outweighing any particular problems that could arise. Now, let's talk about, besides being able to share that space, like I said, how could this benefit us? How can we actually get new capacities that weren't there before? Windows being able to interact with the SteamOS files and SteamOS being able to interact with the Windows files, we're going to attempt to install that Moguri mod for Final Fantasy IX from Windows without going through all of that hackery that was required to get it to install through SteamOS. So I've already taken some steps to get it prepared for us today. Downloaded the mod and I extracted it, so it's in my downloads folder. And we're going to attempt to run the install, and we'll go back to SteamOS afterwards and see if it actually worked. Now, one thing I noticed, let's browse. I'll show you where the games are located. It would be on our home drive. And then the @ and then SteamOS, which is a hidden file, and this is what, or I'm sorry, deck. And then we're going to go to local, which is a hidden file. And we have some issues here when you try doing this from the SteamOS because these files are hidden from you, and I haven't found a way yet in the Dolphin file browser to expose hidden files. You can't browse to this path when you run the mod on SteamOS, so instead you have to find the path through alternative means and either manually type it in or try to copy and paste it in. So not only do you have the extra steps of trying to just run the mod in the first place, but then using the mod is difficult. So we go to local, we go to share, this should be Steam, and then our Steam apps, common, and this is where we'll find all the games that are installed. So Final Fantasy IX is right here, and I'm going to go up here and I want to copy this real quick. Because something I found out, and I think this is just because of the mod itself, if I hit select folder, it didn't actually update the folder in here. At least we can browse to it easily enough. Copy, paste it, boom. So let's click install. And this takes about 8 or 9 minutes. It's a long install. It's got a lot of stuff it's doing. So we'll take a break here. I'll pop back in when it's done installing so we can see the confirmation that it's installed without any errors. And then we'll jump back over to SteamOS and see if this little experiment worked. All right, the mod has installed and it's finished. No errors, no problems. We don't know if it works yet, so that's part of the live experiments. Let's boot back into the SteamOS and see if it's working. All right, here we are, we're back. And so if this works, this is a tremendous advantage of having that shared storage space. It makes it so much easier to do certain things when we can work with both operating systems and have them interact with each other. Just the shared storage space alone is already a huge advantage and more than enough reason to try this out and follow that previous guide tutorial and try this new technique on dual booting. I do plan on having some more follow-up videos from here as I get time to test things like the various ways to give all of your games controls. So far all the Steam games are working great in Windows, but if you play something that's non-Steam, some of the controls might not map. So I'm still testing the various methods that are out there, and I want to vet them personally before I publish how to do them. There's some performance tweaks like increasing the video memory, limiting your frame rate and your refresh rate to get better frame pacing. So I just have to find the time to work on those things and test them and vet them before I put up a video. And of course my YouTube channel, if you go look at my history, I'm not a dedicated Steam Deck guy. I'm an IT guy. I do a lot of things, everything from home automation to soldering and LEDs. And I just kind of put up videos for the things I'm interested at the time. Like if you go back further back, you'll find Cisco CCNA tutorials because I was getting CCNA certified. So right now I'm on a Steam Deck kick. It's my thing. And as long as the community is interested in more videos, I'll keep putting up stuff. So if we launch Final Fantasy IX now and we see the Moguri mod launcher, then we know it worked. And moment of truth, I could succeed or fail. Not live on air because it's recorded, but I'm going to publish this regardless if it worked or not. But I'm confident. I have confidence. Boom. Moguri mod. You got it. See? I told you. And showing is telling in this case. So for anyone that asked the question, why do this instead of the other methods? The shared storage space and being able to do things like we just did here. And tremendous advantages. So I hope this video answered that question for everybody. And I hope you're looking forward to some other future videos as I get time to start vetting other additional add-ons, accessories, changes, and tweaks. So once again, this was Patrick from Vicious Computers, and I'll see you next time.